All right, so ready to really dig into the Shawshank Redemption. Like, go way beyond just enjoying the movie.
Sounds good to me.
Awesome. So we've got this awesome film critique. It's breaking the movie down, like, piece by piece, you know? And honestly, it's making me think about Shawshank in ways I never did before.
It really is amazing how a film can stay with you for years.
Totally.
And then, like, a fresh perspective comes along, you realize there's so much more to it.
Exactly. It's like we all know it's a prison break movie, right?
Right.
But this critique keeps coming back to how it's also about hope, you know? Even in, like, the worst possible place.
Yeah.
How does it even pull that off?
I think it's the focus on those small victories. Not just, the wig escape at the end, but all those tiny moments of defiance along the way. They build up over years.
Okay, yeah.
And those little moments, they resonate, I think, because they remind us that hope isn't some grand gesture. It's those everyday choices we make to resist being crushed by whatever our circumstances are.
That's so interesting. It's not about waiting for some miracle. It's about creating those little miracles yourself.
Yeah.
It's like Anda chipping away at that wall with his rock hammer. Each swing seems so small, but it all adds up to freedom.
Exactly.
Speaking of small victories, Andy Dufresne himself is like that.
Oh, yeah.
The source describes him as stoic, but with this understated strength. How does Tim Robbins pull that off on the screen?
Robbins, I think, he's just a master of subtlety,
Yeah.
He conveys so much with, like, just a look or a tiny shift in his posture. Think about the scene where he's threatened by the sisters.
Oh, yeah.
His fear is obvious, right?
Yeah.
But there's this steeliness in his eyes, this refusal to break.
Yes. That quiet determination is in everything he does, setting up the library, teaching Tommy to read.
Right.
It's like he's proving that even in a place designed to strip away who you are, you can still make choices. Choices that define who you are.
Absolutely. One example that always gets me is that rooftop scene.
Yeah.
Where he gets the beers for the guys, On the surface, it's just kindness.
Right.
But think about it. He's risking his own safety to bring a little joy to those other guys.
It's powerful.
It's reminding them that they're human.
Yeah.
And at the same time, he's playing the system right. Showing that even within those walls, a smart mind can find some leverage.
It's like he's reminding them, hey, you're not just prisoners, you're men.
Right.
You deserve a moment to just be. And that brings us to Red.
Yeah.
I mean, Morgan Freeman's voice is like half the reason this movie is so good. But the source says Red is actually crucial to the whole message of the film.
Yeah.
How does his journey work with Andy's?
I think Red is the perfect counterpoint to Andy.
Okay.
He's been in Shawshank for decades. He's come to believe that hope is dangerous, an illusion,
Right.
He even says that line, hope is a good thing, maybe the best of things, but you can tell he doesn't believe it. He's given up. And it's Andy who slowly over time reawakens that spark in him.
That's what makes their friendship so compelling. They challenge each other, push each other to grow.
Right.
It's like we're watching two sides of the human spirit trying to make sense of this brutal place.
It is.
But then you've got Brooks Hatlin.
Oh, man.
Talk about heartbreak.
Brooks' story is just tragic, yeah.
It is.
He's so institutionalized, he can't even function outside the prison.
Yeah.
When he gets released, he's terrified, lost.
Totally.
He can't adapt. And his fate, it's a brutal reminder, right? That the system doesn't just lock up your body. It can break your spirit, too.
It's the opposite of Andy, who never lets himself be fully absorbed by Shawshank. He clings to hope, nourishes it with those little acts of defiance.
Yeah.
The rock hammer, the posters, even that opera scene. How do these seemingly insignificant things become so powerful in that setting?
Because their refusal. They're refusing to be completely subdued by the system.
Okay.
Each act is like saying, I'm still an individual. I still have some self-determination. Like when Andy plays that opera record over the loudspeaker.
Oh, yeah. It's pure beauty, pure freedom, and it breaks through those prison walls.
Even if it's just for a few minutes.
Even if it's just for a few minutes.
The look on those inmates' faces, you see them transported, like they're reminded that there's a whole world beyond those walls.
Exactly. It's a collective breath of fresh air in this suffocating environment.
Yeah.
It shows the power of art, the power of beauty to touch us, even in the most unlikely places.
And visually, that scene is just stunning. Which brings us to the film's cinematography.
Yes.
The critique praises it, especially the rooftop scene and the escape.
Yeah.
How does the use of light, shadow, and color help tell the story?
The cinematography is masterful. I mean, it's so subtle, but it really reinforces the themes. Think of all the cold, desaturated colors
Yeah.
dominating the prison,
Right.
emphasizing that bleakness, right? But then you have those moments of hope or triumph,
Right.
like that rooftop scene.
Yeah.
Suddenly we see warmer tones, brighter lighting.
Right.
It's like the prison walls have dissolved, if only for a moment. Oh man, I get chills thinking about it. The camera pans up to the sky. It's like this
Huh.
glimpse of freedom, right? It's a reminder that there's a world beyond those walls. And then you've got that escape sequence.
Oh, yeah.
I've seen it a million times and it still gets me.
It's so good.
It really is.
That crawl through the sewage pipe.
Ugh.
It's not just a physical escape. It's like a metaphor for his whole journey. Dark, dirty, claustrophobic.
Yeah.
But he keeps going, and then he emerges, bathed in that clean rain.
Rebirth.
It is. It's like a rebirth.
You know, it's funny. I've heard people complain that the movie feels slow, but the source, they call the pacing meditative. I never
Yeah.
thought of it that way. What do they mean by that?
The slow pace pulls you into the world of Shawshank. You really feel the passage of time alongside the characters, that crushing monotony of prison life.
Right.
And it makes Andy's escape all the more impactful. It's not just a sudden twist. It's a release that we've been waiting for, hoping for alongside him for years.
It's like we're finally exhaling after holding our breath for the whole movie. We've earned this victory with him.
Exactly. And that's a huge part of why the film continues to resonate.
Yeah.
It taps into that universal longing for hope, for freedom, for redemption.
Yeah.
We see ourselves in Andy and Red, and their struggles and their triumphs.
It's not just a movie, it's an experience. And speaking of experiences, the source compares Shawshank to the Count of Monte Cristo. They both involve wrongful imprisonment and these incredible plans. But Shawshank feels different somehow.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You're right, it goes beyond revenge. Shawshank is about something deeper, the power of hope to redeem you, to heal, to set you free. It's about those human connections, those friendships that keep us going, even in the darkest places.
Red and Andy's friendship, that's what saves them both. Red starts off so cynical, but Andy's hope, his belief in Red, it wears him down.
It really does. It's a beautiful illustration of how, even in the most unlikely places, friendships can blossom, and they can give you the strength to carry on.
Okay, so we've talked about characters, themes, even touched on some, like, deeper stuff. But before we move on, I want to go back to something the critique mentioned. The film's pacing.
Ah, yes. The pacing, it's definitely deliberate,
Yeah.
almost meditative, you could say.
Yeah.
It's not a film that rushes to its conclusion.
Right.
It takes its time. It lets us settle into that world, experience the passage of time along with the characters.
And that makes the payoff so much more satisfying.
Oh, yeah.
When Andy finally escapes, it's like pure exhilaration because we've been on that journey with him every step of the way.
We've felt every bit of his struggle.
Yeah.
His victory is our victory.
It's like a testament to patience, both in storytelling and in life. Sometimes the most rewarding things take time to unfold.
Absolutely. We live in a world of instant gratification.
Right.
It's easy to forget the beauty of delayed gratification.
It really is.
The Shawshank Redemption, it's a great reminder. Sometimes the most meaningful things in life, they take patience, perseverance, and that unwavering belief in a better tomorrow.
And sometimes that means crawling through a river of sewage to reach that clean water of freedom. That image of Andy raising his arms in the rain.
Iconic.
It's iconic.
Such a powerful image of hope and liberation. And it speaks to the film's legacy. Even decades later, it continues to inspire us. Reminds us that even in the darkest times, hope can prevail.
It's a testament to the resilience of the human spirit. That even when faced with unbelievable adversity, we can choose to find meaning, connect with others, and never give up hope. We'll be right back after a quick break.
And, you know, it's not just the story itself, it's the way it's told. The filmmaking is just masterful.
Yeah.
The pacing, the cinematography, the music, all these elements work together to create like a truly immersive experience.
Speaking of music, that Mozart scene gets me every time. It's such a powerful moment. Like beauty and transcendence all wrapped up in one. And it kind of speaks to something you mentioned earlier, those small acts of defiance.
Oh, absolutely. It's a perfect example. It's not just about the music itself, right? It's what it represents.
Yeah.
That yearning for freedom,
Yeah.
rejecting those surroundings, and the way the camera shows the inmates' reactions, their faces lit up with this wonder and longing. It's just breathtaking.
It reminds you that even in the worst places, art can still give you hope and inspiration.
For sure.
But the movie doesn't shy away from the tough stuff either, like
Mm.
those scenes with the sisters and Captain Hadley.
Oh, yeah.
They're brutal.
Absolutely. The film doesn't pretend prison life is easy.
Right.
It shows you the damage it does, both physically and mentally. But even in those dark moments, there's this little flicker of hope. Like the human spirit just can't be completely destroyed.
That's what makes the Shawshank Redemption so uplifting.
Yeah.
It's a story about how hope can keep you going even when things seem impossible.
Exactly. It's a testament to how resilient people can be. And that's why it still speaks to people today.
Totally.
In a world that often feels dark and uncertain, it gives us that message of hope and possibility.
It's a reminder that even when all hope seems lost, there's still a chance for redemption. But let's go back to that idea of Shawshank being more than just a prison break movie. You've talked about the characters, the cinematography, the themes. But what about the overall message? What do you think the filmmakers were trying to say about hope and resilience?
I think they were trying to show that hope isn't passive. It's not just something you feel. It's a force that can push you through the toughest challenges.
Okay.
It's about finding glimmers of light in the darkness and holding on tight, and knowing that even when the odds are stacked against you, you can still endure. You can still prevail.
And that even little acts of defiance, like Andy playing that opera record or carving his name on the wall, can be so powerful.
Exactly. Those acts of rebellion, they show you're not giving in. You're not going to be completely broken by the system. They're like a way of saying, this is who I am. I still have some control over my own life. It's like Viktor Frankl said, in man's search for meaning, everything can be taken from a man but one thing, the last of the human freedoms to choose one's attitude in any given set of circumstances, to choose one's own way.
Wow, that's a perfect connection to Shawshank.
It is, isn't it?
It's about finding that strength inside you, that spark of hope that helps you rise above your circumstances and hold on to your humanity. And that brings us back to the source's comparison of Shawshank to The Count of Monte Cristo. Both stories have wrongful imprisonment. Both have those meticulous plans for revenge. But Shawshank, it goes beyond just getting even, doesn't it?
It does. Shawshank is about something much deeper, the power of hope to redeem you, to heal you, to set you free.
And it's about those human connections, friendships, the bonds that keep you going when things are tough. Think about Red and Andy, their friendship. That's ultimately what saves them.
Absolutely. It's a testament to how powerful human connection can be. Red starts off cynical, resigned to his fate. But Andy, with his hope and his belief in Red, it slowly breaks down Red's walls.
And Red, he becomes Andy's anchor, his link to the world outside Shawshank.
Right. It's a beautiful example of how, even in the darkest places, friendships can grow.
Yeah.
And they can give you the strength to carry on.
And it shows you should never give up on people, even when they've given up on themselves.
I agree.
That's powerful stuff. So we've covered a lot: character analysis, themes, even a bit of philosophy. The critique ends with... What other stories, maybe in books or movies, echo those themes of hope and resilience that we see in Shawshank? What other stories come to mind that leave you with that feeling of hope winning out against all odds?
It really makes you think, right? Like, Shawshank isn't just some isolated story.
It's not, no.
It's part of this bigger thing.
Yeah.
This need for hope that we see everywhere.
Exactly. Throughout history, in all different cultures.
Wow.
And that's why it still connects with people today.
Totally. It reflects something deep about being human. So what other stories do you think of? What else gives you that same feeling that hope can win out no matter what?
Well, when I think about stories about hope within messed up systems, To Kill a Mockingbird comes to mind right away.
Okay.
Like Shawshank, it deals with justice, with prejudice, and the courage to stand up for what's right.
Even when you feel totally alone.
Right, even when you feel totally alone.
Atticus Finch, man, he's like the ultimate example of holding your ground, even when it seems like the whole world is against you.
He is.
It's that unshakable belief in doing right that makes him so powerful.
Absolutely. And like Andy, he inspires the people around him, even when things are so tough. And speaking of finding light in dark places, we can't forget The Diary of Anne Frank.
Oh, man. That story.
It's incredibly moving
Yeah.
and heartbreaking.
Anne's optimism, her belief in people, even while she's hiding from the Nazis.
It's incredible.
It's hard to imagine having that kind of strength.
It really is. It's a testament to how hope can get you through anything, even unimaginable horror. Anne's story shows us that even in the worst situations, You can choose what to focus on. You can find beauty and meaning around you.
And that really ties into what Shawshank is all
Right, it
about.
does, yeah.
It's like no matter how trapped we feel, whether it's actual walls or just, life circumstances,
Right.
there's always that chance to break free, to
Mhm.
find something to hold on to.
Exactly. And those small acts of hope, like Andy with the Mozart record or Red going to that tree,
Yeah.
they can change everything.
That's why these stories are so powerful. They stick with you long after you finish them.
They do.
They challenge you, inspire you, and they show you that fighting for what's right, even when it seems impossible, it's always worth it.
It is. And they give you that sense of possibility, that no matter how dark things get, a new day will come.
Yeah.
Even when it seems like you can't win, you can.
Right.
No matter how long the tunnel, there's a light at the end.
That's a great way to put it. So if you've never seen The Shawshank Redemption, what are you waiting for? Go watch it. And if you have, maybe this deep dive will make you want to watch it again with fresh eyes, to really get that message of hope. And as you go about your day, remember, get busy living or get busy dying isn't just a movie line, it's a choice we make every day. Until next time, keep diving.